All right, hey everybody! Thank you for tuning in again. This is Phil Healy of NorCam, the Public Access Coordinator, and with me, as always, is
Jason Smith, Government Access Coordinator.
And we're here today for our I don't know what this is like the 14th episode of NorCam Weekly. It's been getting a lot of good reception from a lot of people. But people enjoy it. We had Mary Brenny from. Pretty much, I want to say Elders Affairs because of I always screw up the actual titles of people in town, but she's head of the senior center and senior activities in town, and it was a great chat. And her and her posse up there at the senior center were listening in, and they were having a blast with it. But no, she was great to have on. And what do you think of it, Jason? What do you think of the episode?
It's always fun just to diversify and grab different people in the town. So.
Yeah, and that's what we're here to do. Hopefully, get them in, show them what we're all about, and how podcasting is pretty simple, pretty easy, and that even if they want to do their own or do their own show, we're here to help them out. But what's been going on with NorCam the last week?
It's pretty quiet. Monday was select meeting, as you know, because you covered it.
Yes, because I was there, and I was fried once again.
Yeah, the rest of the week, Rob has been going through the new camera packages, putting those together.
Yep. He started that last week too. Yeah.
So.
And I grabbed one to take with me. I didn't end up. I fiddled with it, but I didn't end up actually recording anything on it. But it's great. Yeah. It's got a 1-inch sensor, which is pretty amazing. Image sensor.
A 4K upgrade.
Yeah, software based.
It's not. What do you call it?
It's not
standard.
Hardware.
It doesn't come now, but there's an upgrade that we
which
might be able to do later on.
Which it's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, it's a good looking cam. There's still wonky things about it that I'm like, how the hell do you get the battery out of this thing? But which I don't know if you played with it yet, but it's fine. We'll bring that to the public and we'll teach new classes on it because our old cameras will actually be selling off the next week or two. And what we've been cleaning stuff out, like people have been taking stuff out of our storage and other stuff. We've been selling stuff off. We
donated to what's the town?
Lynchfield.
Because they're, I think, just getting going.
In New Hampshire. Yeah, they're just getting going, and there's this one fella who actually will be back, I think, next week to get some more stuff. Good guy. And I forget the gentleman's name. I think it's John from Lynchfield.
Right,
but he actually is just like a guy in town who likes helping him out and doing stuff. It's great. He was a good guy. And we filled up his truck. He's like, well, it's like, can't put any more on. And I'm like, all right, well, come back in a couple of weeks. We'll help you out. Because we had a lot of stuff in our storage, and actually Rob did a great job just kind of sectioning it off.
And stuff was previous at like the high school and stuff like that.
Yeah,
or anything we've accumulated just in the meantime as we were getting going. So
at least like a decade or so. Even like that's where we had all the old tapes for like meetings and stuff like that. We went through the last almost 3 to 4 years over all those tapes and put them online on our YouTube channel, which is the NorCam One, or you can just type in NorCam. And so what is the deal with the third Max Headroom incident?
Is that still what's the company, the accreditation? I forget it.
Oh yeah, that's right. We had the video. We were certified. We were looking to see if, and they're like, what happened with that?
No, they just verified, and they were like, they looked at the quality of the video, and they're like, oh yeah, that's totally the Max, like a third one. So
wow. Interesting. We'll see where we go with that. It's been a hot button topic on our YouTube page. A lot of kids and a lot of people just really blatantly.
A lot of comments and opinions.
Yeah, it's been great. We love it, no matter how kind of voracious it is. We just we'll take it as is. And with that being said, today we have a very special guest. We've been trying to have special guests every week. And today we have the lovely Susan Magner, and I'll have her say what she's in charge of because I always screw it up. So, Susan, hello and welcome.
Thank you. My job is I work for the town of North Reading. I am the Veterans Director, also known as a Veterans Service Officer for the town. And I work with all the veterans and their dependents and their spouses here. We do a lot of outreach. Making sure that especially we have a lot of elders as well, so I actually coordinate a lot with the Elder Services Director, Mary Brenny. So we work hand in hand a lot because she may have elders that are veterans that can qualify for benefits that they would not be able to receive otherwise. So one of the things that we have, and I really want to kind of clarify a lot, is the a lot of people have the misconception that veterans benefits is always under VA comp or VA pensions. Okay. what people need to know is there's actually two entities going on here. We are the only state that happens to have what we call Chapter 115 benefits that we've had instituted back in the 1800s. So what the Chapter 115 benefits is a mass state benefits for veterans who are in financial constraints. So if they're, say they have an income of only about $1,700 a month as a couple, they can qualify for what we call OB, or I like to call housing allowance, as well as a fuel assistance allowance. And in addition to that, they would qualify for all their medicals being reimbursed back to them. Now, all the medicals being reimbursed back to them includes that $104.90 that they take out of their Social Security Medicare Part B. That would get back to them. They all are expected to have a Medigap plan, and some don't, which we need to be required to put them on a Medigap. So roughly, you're talking like a Harvard Pilgrim, Blue Cross Blue Shield, that would pick up the other 20% that Part B does not.
So you cover all your bases.
Yes.
Wow.
Part B only covers up to 80% of their coverage. And then by putting the Medigap in, it closes that gap and brings in the other 20%, pays out that other 20%. So though the premium may be $199 to $215 roughly in that price range, we reimburse that back to them.
Oh, that's great.
All their prescriptions, their copays to their prescriptions get reimbursed back. All their doctor's copays, all their hospital copays, all that gets reimbursed back to them.
And that's if they qualify for
the Chapter 115. So if they're a single individual and they're roughly right around the $1,900 a month for an income, and they don't have assets, meaning their bank account, not counting their homes and their cars. I want to make that clear. And their assets or their bank accounts do not exceed over the 5,000 mark, then they can qualify for at least, if anything, medical only. So they may not qualify for a housing and a fuel assist through the Chapter 115, but they can still qualify for all their medical reimbursement.
No, that's great. I mean, there's something there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you're looking at a couple, it's $9,800, the max for their assets. So their assets go up, and it's roughly around the $2,500 a month income brought in.
Okay.
So it's such a huge help. And if I could tell you so many stories that I've had people that have come up and just the big hug comes in, it's like, you just saved me. I can't believe that this is even in existence. And it's always been the joke with all the VSOs. It's like, it's one of the things that nobody ever knew about until we actually got into these jobs. So, for instance, you could be the veteran. Okay, your parents didn't serve in the military, but because you're the veteran, your parents can qualify for the assistance.
Oh, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah,
that's kind of great.
Yes.
Well, I think it was kind of, not to cut through a little bit. My grandfather was a firefighter, and I remember at the firefighter credit union in Lowell. I remember my parents could be. I mean, it's not the same, but it's that similar kind of like that lineage you can kind of apply to, which is great.
So it's for people with low income. And I'll tell you, I wish I knew back then in the day, too, because my mom, and we've got 4 of us that were served in the military of siblings. And so for me, it's like I didn't even know about it. I didn't know it existed at all. And I could have assisted my mom on a lot of that stuff too, or my brother, any of us using any of our DD-214s.
So is that how you got involved? Your siblings were you in as well?
Yeah.
Oh, where did you serve?
I served in the Air Force.
Oh, wow,
for 4
really?
years, yeah.
Wow,
From 78 to 82, yeah. That's actually a prerequisite of the job.
Oh, okay.
You have
that
to be a
makes
veteran.
sense. Yeah.
So I guess I'll put that out clear.
Well, I actually didn't know.
The prerequisite of the job, you have to be a veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know. I thought you were, not to say a figure. I thought you were just purely part of, just like a state worker, but no, that's pretty amazing.
So we work actually, we get paid by the town.
Yeah.
We follow all the town policies and everything as every other employee does, but we're also linked to the state. Okay? So now one of the other prerequisites of the job is also helping and assist people, the veterans file for their VA compensation. Now these are the federal benefits that they can qualify. So For instance, somebody comes in and they're asking for hearing aids. The first thing I'm going to ask them what they did for a job. And I'll tell you why. Because if they worked around, heavy machinery, they worked on airplanes, and they were constantly in the noise, or they were on the battlefield, typically what happens is that hearing loss can pretty much be linked back to their military service, which would give them a disability compensation right off the bat, okay? As well as a lot of them that don't, they kind of live with it, the tinnitus. The tinnitus, that ringing in the ear and the humming, that can qualify for another 10%.
Oh, good.
So you could be looking at right off the bat the 20%. So when that comes to fruition and they own homes, now they qualify for that tax exemption as a disabled veteran.
That's awesome.
So it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of work involved in putting these comp cases together. I mean, those to me are like the easy breezy ones to put together. But when you start dealing with people now that are dealing with the Agent Orange and the ischemic heart disease that comes in, the Lejeune water.
The original Iraq War, just because there was actually a famous case from a gentleman from Methuen went before. I forget what was because it was just the first time they really used that. Oh no, Agent Orange, but after they used a different type of chemical warfare.
Right. No, well, because you're dealing with a lot of them now that served over in Desert Storm too.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with the oils that literally they were rained on. My brother was over there. They were literally rained on with that, and so the contaminants are coming into that. So what ends up happening when you're dealing with the V as far as the VA goes, and they have what they call a presumptive. They actually have these links where people sign in and say, yes, I was over in Vietnam, or yes, I served over in Desert Storm, or yes, I served in Camp Lejeune, during the time of the water contamination issues and everything. So what happens is those links actually build up a case, if you will, for them to finally come up to we're calling it presumptive. Okay, so pretty much anybody that served, boots on the ground, they're automatic a shoe-in to the VA.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So the other thing is like a lot of people aren't aware of, is when you're dealing with contaminants like the water. And Lejeune, I'm going to use Lejeune because it's a perfect example. The water contaminants, the people that ended up with certain diseases and the wives were there, and they were there with the husbands. They're starting their families. The miscarriages going on. The kids ending up with different medical issues. This also links back to where now the kids can actually file and get a disability from the VA because of the issues that their father dealt with that were, from him being over there.
So what is the success rate of that? Is it pretty decent? Or?
The success rate actually is pretty good. I'm a dot your I, cross your T's kind of girl. So
good.
I'll give you one case I just recently did, probably came to fruition about 6-7 months ago. And he was having a lot of skin issues, knew he was over in Lejeune and everything. And with his doctor, you got to compile all the information. So his outside doctors, I got to take all their information in, read through it. And then we got to take all his information from when he was in the military and kind of put a story together, if you will. Okay? And so you start putting the story together, and then when I have the pictures and things like that, like I did have some pictures with this, literally within 7 months, he was given a 70% disability.
Oh, wow. So you're like a medical detective.
It is detective work.
Yeah.
It really is. You have to. It's like an attorney going into court. Yeah. You have to provide the evidence and proof. And if you don't provide the evidence and proof, then they're going to deny you.
Yeah, because it's a board. It's not a tribunal. It's like just a board, or
Yep. Yeah. It goes through the board of reviews and everything.
Yeah.
But even with a denial, you can go back and appeal.
Oh, and
file a notice. I actually had one case that was the individual's going blind. Oh. Okay, in his 30s. We were able to bring it. He had filed back in like 2002, got denied. I took on the case it was brought to my attention, and in 2012 I took on the case, and I got all his paperwork and documentation, and I was able to look at. I actually had his initial
like his claim
physical going into the military.
Oh, good.
Okay, And everything on his physical, everything was of a norm for his eyesight, okay? So now he's got a genetic, and this is where a lot of people don't realize, it's actually considered a genetic disorder, a hereditary disorder, the eye disease he has.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay? They found that out.
Yeah.
And they tried to tell him it was something that was hereditary and before he went in the service. Well, I don't think any branch, especially the Marine Corps, is going to bring anybody in knowing they're having issues and going blind.
Yeah, really.
So he's under their watch at this point.
Huh.
He starts having issues while he's in, and I just got him at 60, and we're going for the 100 right now.
Oh, good. Congrats.
But it was like a long time waiting, and then you literally have to sometimes get your congressman involved.
Well, I mean,
You really do.
Go ahead. I see you were saying. Well, we're just kind of listening in because it is an amazing. Because it seemed like a social justice kind of like superheroine, pretty much. You're going for it. It's a lot of respect for that because it seems like a lot of people get. I forget what book it was like, just putting veterans to the wayside, not really thinking of them. And having Mary last week, there's a quote I threw at her. The Dalai Lama showed up at the U.S. like a couple of years back, within the last decade. And one of the questions was thrown at him. Oh, what is one of the things you take away from America? Which is like, well, he was like, seriously, the way you treat your elderly. It's like it's not, not the best. And it's just the same thing, whether you don't agree with warfare or what have you. We're not like the Romans. The Romans, used to let their warriors grab what you want, grab the loot, come back. Although whether you don't agree with looting, but it was just a matter of you need to. You put them through that kind of hellish environment. You need to kind of compensate. I'm glad you're.
And one of the things too is a lot of people. Again, and I'm bringing this out too to the veterans out there. A lot of the misconception and a lot of what we were, I guess, call it brainwashing. I don't know, but I know that's how I feel it is. Yeah. You're brought to as you're getting discharged and they're discharging you out and everything. You're not brought, especially back in the day, nobody was advised to go to the VA for assistance. Our mindset was my limbs are intact, everything's intact, I don't belong to the VA. That's only for people that have missing limbs and the serious injured. And it's so not true. It's so not true because the medical coverage they can get, you're talking these young guys coming back, they have no jobs. They can go to the VA and virtually get health care for free.
Oh, that's great.
Because they'll look at it as if they don't have a comp in there, a disability, they'll automatically look at it as as literally now their financial status. So if they're literally under the 42, I want to say it's roughly around the 42,000 a year mark, they could virtually get all their medical care for free.
That's great.
So, I mean, that's something I like to put out there to the veterans because they don't realize it's there.
No, it's important.
It's very important. So, I actually have a son that's been serving currently 14 years now.
Oh.
And had done 5 combat tours.
Wow.
8 tours total, 5 of them combat.
In the Middle
within
East,
11
or?
years. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Iraq, Afghan, back and forth. And he got out of the active end of it and went to the DOD side to train the Marines. And
still out there, or
he's still
or
in.
back in?
Yeah,
Oh,
he
right.
went. What he did is he went into the reserves, active reserves.
Okay.
So while he was getting discharged out of the active end of it, the active duty end of it, and we were discussing medical care for him and his wife and the baby. I was saying, you can look. You're gonna have to look in Virginia to see if they might have some kind of what we have, a Mass Health, see what they have for care. And I said, but you can use the VA. And he says, no, I can't. I go, yes, you can. He says, I was advised while I was getting out of the military that I could not use the VA because I didn't have a disability comp. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Oh, wow.
So I literally brought that fact up to the Providence VA director as well as ours. And I said, this is crazy. Who is sending these people to these bases?
Well, do you think people are willingly spreading disinformation, or do you think they just don't know?
My son's a dot your I, cross your T kind of guy. I mean, he was in a very, 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 and I can't allude to it, but very serious job in the military.
Sure, yeah.
And I mean, out of 300 applicants, he was out of 3. There were 3 picked, and he was one.
Oh, wow.
for the job, which
That's
was
insane,
an
yeah.
intense training worse than boot camp. So
Sure.
when he puts packets together, he puts and fine tunes everything. So he keeps all his records and everything, and he brought it up to them, and that's what they were told when they were getting discharged, that they could not use the VA because they didn't have a disability compensation.
Weird.
And
So
it's totally erroneous
Yeah.
information. So, anyways, that being said, anybody that feels that they may have had something that's service connected, they can apply, obviously, through my office. As VSOs, we take care of our own as far as the Chapter 115 because that money comes literally out of the town funding, town budget, but the state pays back 75%.
And do you get any federal from that as well
No.
to cover that? So it's all
No.
pure state
But
for
we
that.
get 75% of what we dish out.
That's pretty good, yeah.
And that's huge. And it's the law. It's it's under the law. We have to do it. And then the VA comp cases and pensions and things like that, any one of us can take anybody's case on. So whether it's in state, out of state, somebody needs help, you can do them all.
So someone
I've done out of state cases.
Oh, that's awesome. How far was your reach, I guess?
My reach, well, a lot, having so many family members,
Oh, of course,
15
yeah.
of us in the military. Believe me, there's a lot of outreach out there. So, but no, I've helped. I've had people mention things to me and come in from Saugus. They were having issues, in Boston area, whatever. And I just, I'm not going to turn them down. They need help.
Why would you?
I love doing the cases. I love doing the challenge.
Oh, that's great.
Challenge is great.
No, yeah, and you're a great weapon to have in the arsenal for all these people. Really, I mean, that's insane. Like the more I think about it, it's kind of weird. And even more modern warfare. Well, actually, if the actual soldiers are fighting, and more foot soldiers, I hear chemical weaponry, not just bombs, but actual chemical guns that fire cartridges that just have such a discharge that it's just they don't know because it's all who knows what the effects are, and that literally you can almost so acidic you could burn your hand off. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure you've heard and seen all those crazy cases. And it just always floors my mind because also one of the funny and weird things. I'm sorry, I'll ramble.
No,
that's
go ahead.
What
Go
I
ahead.
do.
No, go ahead.
But one of the things that's always funny and weird because they're they're literally on the the front lines, both metaphorically and literally, of just also this technology of weaponry. So we don't know, and they don't know. It's just who knows? 50 years from now, we shouldn't have done that because it'll alter your alter some sort of makeup or hearing or sight.
Right. Well, it's not just even that too. I mean, you normally you're talking about the physical aspect as far as you're saying the hearing and things of that nature, but all the issues with the burn pits and things like that they're all encountering too because they're bodily function fluids, if you will, they have to be that all that gets burnt down, and I know having two kids over there, they all saw a lot going on, but one of the things that I don't think a lot of people today, Vietnam obviously, they really got, as far as I'm concerned, a bad rap when it came to coming home and the treatment of them, and we're all trying to turn that around and do right by them, and that's huge to me. And but the other thing is too, we have the war we're dealing with now, the amount of tours these individuals, these men and women are going through is just insane. I mean, you're talking with an 11-year period, you're talking 8 tours. That's a lot. Wow. That's a lot. The Marine Corps the Army will pretty much do for the most part out in the Iraq, Afghan, you're looking at a year and a half on a tour and come home. What the Marine Corps tends to do is, from experiences, they tend to do the 7 to 9 month run tour. They may come home for 3 or 4 months, but then they'll ship them back out again. So they come home on a hiatus for 3 or 4 months. The joke was, I used to tell my son, Lejeune was just his locker to keep everything in, for him to ship out. But yeah, it's a lot of, it takes a toll on the veteran, on the warrior, but it takes a huge toll on the families too. And I lived through that because my daughter was 8 years old when the first time her brother went over. So it was, yeah.
wow.
So it's a harrowing.
Yeah.
It really is hard to deal with, and it takes a lot of inner strength to try and keep life
A
going.
lot of chutzpah, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
As they say.
It does.
Well, with that being said, I mean, you had mentioned that you help with the families too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems like you do the angels' work, if you can call it that. Essentially dealing with the families, and I mean, people come back to you and just said, "Hey, thank you very much for working with my family. We appreciate it." I mean,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. And one of the things I like to do, and I like to do the welcome homes. So if a
Oh,
family,
yeah.
a family, notifies me and says, my son's coming back from overseas or my daughter's coming back, and I want to, do a welcome home. Do you do anything like that? Sure, I do.
Yeah.
I got all the cameras out there, line the streets up with all the kids in the
Yeah.
schools, line up.
Well, yeah, we had one here
Yeah.
a couple years back.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We had Colonel McIntyre, and we've. Who else did I have out there? Oh my goodness. Because we've done a few of them, but it's a lot of fun to just line the streets up.
Sure, yeah.
I bring in the Patriot Guard riders, and they come in with all the flags
Yeah.
and line the flags up. But then we get the kids, especially if I have notification, a little time frame, then the kids can do the signs, and I get up signs done. But then we get the North Reading PD involved. They go up and pick them up at the airport,
You get
bring
the
them
fire
back,
trucks
and
over here as well.
yeah. So
Oh, nice.
it's fun. It's nice because it brings the community together, and it gives them the kids. They see the heroes coming home.
Sure.
It's huge, and that's why I build up the parades now with the military vehicles and everything for that reason, because the kids look at them as heroes, and they should.
Yeah, I mean, you do a great job with the Veterans Day ceremonies that we have every day on the quad over there by the memorials over there. And it's just nice because we have a World War II, a Vietnam wall, and what
all the
and
wars.
Korea.
All the wars. Right now,
Yeah.
what I'm actually looking for is I'm starting to raise monies for our Iraq-Afghan veterans.
Oh, lovely.
To include them into them onto the walls. So we have all the wars up there right now represented, and what that is anybody that went in from North Reading are on the wall. So, and then if they, unfortunately there happened to be a KIA or something, that's noted as well. But it's anybody that was living in the town when they went into the military, they're on that wall.
Oh, that's great.
So right now, the goal is to start now getting the funds together for the Iraq-Afghan war veterans.
Is there anywhere people can go to help out, or is that
Absolutely.
just you?
We have a veterans gift account.
Oh, good.
So I have a veterans gift account, and I made a specific stationary column for that right now. What I'm doing for the annual dinner, I do an annual dinner, which you're aware of. I do that and that's always in September. This year, it's actually Sunday, the 27th of September.
Okay.
At the Hillview, 2:00.
We'll be there. We'll have someone.
Yep, and we're going to honor again the World War II veterans because it's the 70th anniversary.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
To the end of World War II.
yeah.
And I've kept the tickets down to still at $25 a person because I did not want to have to, put that heavy on the individuals coming to attend.
Sure.
So what I did is I've sent out about 100 notifications to different businesses around within the community and outside the community to see if they'd like to sponsor a table.
Yeah, that sounds
And that way, that money will go directly into that account for to start building up to be able to prepare to put all the names of the Iraq-Afghan war veterans on. It's a great time. That's like one of my babies. I love doing that. I started that when I first took the job on, and I just wanted to find a way to outreach and at the same time have some fun with the community, and get them together. So I kind of came up with this thought of doing this annual dinner. Yeah. And I have a DJ that donates his time every year for me. I have, with this will be the third year, I have incorporated the Lynn English cadets, the ROTC Marine Corps cadets into the program. And they do floor demonstrations. You're watching the rifles up in the air. It's awesome. The girls do amazing hand-foot work. They do the Missing Man table ceremony live version. It is just one of the most touching ceremonies you could ever watch, and it's phenomenal. I make all the centerpieces, handcraft all the
Really?
centerpieces
I
for
know
them,
that.
and I give those away. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then I bring in the 25th Marine Corps Regiment out of Fort Devens.
Oh yeah, right down the road.
Yep, they come up for all my ceremonies.
Yeah.
Veterans and Memorial
Were we
Day.
talking about that the other day? Just like how Fort Devens is right there, and we just always forget it.
Yeah.
We just go by it.
Yeah.
At the Rotary by Wakefield and
Yep.
North Reading. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, that's that's
that's
Camp
the-
Curtis Guild.
Oh, Camp Curtis Guild.
That's
oh,
Camp
Fort
Curtis.
Devens.
Fort Devens is
yeah.
down by the Shirley area.
Yep.
Yeah.
North Central, man. Off Road 2, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair
So I
enough.
bring them in every year. I'm kind of like on their speed dial, I think,
Yeah.
now at this point. And then on top of that, because it is the 70th anniversary for the end of World War II, yours truly is cooking a home-cooked Italian dinner
Oh no.
for our World War II veterans at the Senior Center.
Well, that's awesome. That's a lot of work, but it's awesome.
Oh, I want to do this. This is going to be
Oh,
fun.
good. Well, what is your? So what's the?
The menu?
Yeah, what's the menu going to be?
Okay,
like?
so the menu is going to be we did a nice dinner salad.
Okay.
We're going to have either I haven't completed the full meal, but I'm definitely doing a lasagna.
Oh.
I'm looking at the eggplant parmesan thing going on here.
Oh, there you go.
Homemade meat. They will be homemade. Trust me, guys. They will be
Yeah.
homemade. I'll be spending a lot of time at the stove. Homemade meatballs, homemade sauce.
Wow.
With sausages, and then we're going to have obviously desserts, and I've also Mary's working on the salad, and then we're going to have the fresh Italian bread with butter. But I'm also going to do the Italian oils,
Oh, cool.
the dipping Italian oils in there for that.
Do you have a team, or is it all just? It can't be.
It's my Liz Donaldson, who's her father's a World War II veteran.
Oh, wow.
And then we've got Mary Prunty and myself.
Mary Prunty,
So we're
yeah.
going to be doing this at the Senior Center at noon on the 2nd of September, Wednesday, and all this is going to
That's
be in
where
this
you're going
week's
to
paper.
start. Oh, that's when you're going to start.
Not this one, excuse me.
September.
September 2nd,
Yeah.
Wednesday, September 2nd, at the Senior Center at 12 o'clock.
Oh, all right.
Noon.
So
High
that's-
noon.
High noon.
High noon.
Bring Gary Cooper.
And we're asking, the World War II veterans and a family member to come, because obviously we don't want them sitting by
Yeah.
themselves. I'd love to invite more people, but obviously space-wise, it's not
Yeah,
going to.
whatever. If you need it filmed, let us know
Right.
if you feel the need.
Oh,
We're there.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I'd like to play some nice, the era music with
Yeah.
the big band music and all
big
that. I'll
band.
bring in my bows.
Yeah.
We'll have
Oh,
some
there you
fun
go.
with it. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
But this is.
And makes me hungry.
Out
to
of-
be
out of-
honest. This is around lunch.
I think out of all the jobs I've had, and I've worked with, I had worked for the Scouts back for 10 years. Out of all the jobs I have, though, this year, I go to bed, I know I can sleep at night when it comes to I've helped somebody out, and it just brightens your day when you've done that. So I love what I do.
Well, it's good to have you here, and I'm glad we
Thank
can have
you.
you on. And it's a pleasure. And learning more crazy stuff about you. It's always fun to have because, Mara was on. We're like, what? She was just telling all this stuff. And the listeners will enjoy it. And it's good to just get to know people in town who do such great work. And did your grandfather serve? I forget. Or you were saying?
A long time ago.
Yeah, my
Since passed.
yeah, mine. He passed away in '97, but he served in Korea and the Second World War. He was just young enough to take his age,
Right.
as a lot did back then,
Yes, they did.
to serve
Yeah.
in the Pacific. But
Yeah.
he was a turret gunner, which was kind of scary. So yeah,
It's one
Yeah.
of the things that this job is. I just touched on a few areas that we do because it's I deal with Social Security, Medicare, all that stuff. So people are in need of getting on Mass Health buy-in to get Mass Health to pay for that $104.90 that's taken out of their check. You get it back in. So then the Mass Health picks it up or whatever. So the state, but there's so much involved in the job as far as the array of services that are provided. It's too many to list. Honest
Yeah.
to God, there's too many to list.
was there anywhere? Give us how people can contact you, any info or anything you like
Okay,
to plug
well,
as well. Yeah.
I've got two places right off the bat. You can, obviously the phone number, 978-357-5212, in the town hall, right inside room 10. I have an area, if I'm not there and doing outreach, I have a mailbox right on my door. They can put, sign their name on the board. My cell phone's up there as well. And I also have a slip that they can fill out and put inside the box if they don't want other people to know what they're in there for. So to protect their privacy. And I have a website.
Oh.
The website is up and running. We just actually changed over our websites, but all the information that you want to find is up there.
What is the website
The
name?
website is, if you go into the main website of the town hall, or you can actually Google up North Reading Veterans Department. It'll come right up. And in there's also a link below the front page. There's also a link to my Facebook.
Oh, lovely.
So I have a Facebook page going on too. So keep everybody up to events and everything. So absolutely.
Cool. All right, that's right. Susan, thank you very much. Anything else, or you?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, no, that's great.
But come on, let's make this place big. I want this event for the 27th huge.
Yeah, no, it's always great. We've covered it the last couple of years. Dave Doucette, one of our members and board members, has covered it and done a great job. You can find more about it on our YouTube page. You can actually look at the event the last couple of years.
I appreciate that because that's awesome.
Well, no,
it's
been great. It's anytime we can help, it's a pleasure. And also the Veterans Day ceremonies, all of them are up online for the past, I think, like at least 4 or 5 years, I think. And those are always fun and a good time, a nice honorable ceremony. But yeah, Jason, anything else to close out this session for this week?
I could top any of that.
No, really, yeah. But no, thank you everyone for listening, and you can contact us at NORCAM at 978-664-0501 for anything. If you want to contact us or contact Susan, or if you want to help volunteer to cover stuff, because we are a volunteer organization. There are 3 people here. We do what we can, but we rely a lot on volunteer help. And Jason, what is the email they can get you at?
My email is norcamjason@gmail.com.
And that's for anything government access related. Anything. Yeah, exactly. And you can contact me. This is my more convoluted Gmail name, as I always say. Phil, phil.healy, HEALY, .norcam, NORCAM, @gmail.com. And you can just find us on Facebook as well. And we're also at norcam.org. And thank you. Keep listening. And yeah, let us know if you want to be on or if you want to have a show. Take it easy, guys.